Time to shine today, varsity squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I've been kind of like, lack of a better term, waiting with bated breath for this interview because this guy helps you free up time and lets you, okay, people out there know I'm a real estate agent, and we know that we should be prospecting, listing, selling, negotiating, and closing. We should not be writing marketing. We should not be answering phones. We should not be doing all those menial tasks. Not to say that the people doing them are menial, but for you to grow your business, you must have somebody like my good friend, Daniel Ramsey from MyOutDesk. You know, Daniel Ramsey is the founder and CEO of MyOutDesk, the highest rated virtual staffing company in the marketplace with over, I believe it's more like 600 five-star reviews and over 13 years of experience serving more than 6,000 clients across industries. And again, I'm super privy to get 15, 20 minutes of this man's time because he's busy helping others stay busy. So Daniel, welcome to the Time to Shine Today. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Blue, and I'm wearing the color right now on if you're listening you can't see it, but blue, you know why? I don't know. It's just I've always been attracted to it, and even as a small child I was like blue yeah. And so I'm not going to tell your audience my age, but I'm above 40 years old. Okay. And blue is still my color. Yeah, it's my color. It's my color.
I love it, man. I love it. And it's funny you say blue. I mean, it's mine too. And I'm literally looking at the Atlantic Ocean right now, and it's got this nice shade of blue because it's beautiful here. So yeah, let's get to the origins, man. Like, what was your fork in the road moment kind of thing to start something that has helped so many people free up time to really work on their craft?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because I always like to tell this story because I'm on my honeymoon. I'm in Guatemala. I've just married my wife. We're expecting our third child right now, and so it's worked out. Right, 10 years later, we're still there. It's worked out. But we're in Guatemala. We're at a Francis Ford Coppola resort. Now, Francis Ford Coppola, he you know, kind of a yeah, he's a little bit of crazy guy, but he makes these amazing resorts. So we're in bungalows. They're in the trees. There's monkeys everywhere, and it's gorgeous. And I find myself at 1 a.m, literally on a laptop at the bar working on my honeymoon. And what happened was the bartender actually, who had gotten to know us after a couple of days, started making fun of me in Spanish. He takes my phone, snaps a photo of me with a beer, candles. I'm working by candlelight, literally on my honeymoon. Earlier that day, we'd swam underground through a cave and like hiked a mile into and so we had this amazing, you know, breathtaking moment in the jungle. And there I was at 1 o'clock in the morning working. So the bartender starts making fun of me, takes a picture. And I realized at that moment, I wanted to actually stay married. I wanted to one day have kids. And what I'd done, like many entrepreneurs, is I basically bought myself a job. Right. And then I was helicopter delegating, and I hadn't built the systems and processes that I now understand grow actual business. And so, you know, in that moment, I knew something had to change.
What was your profession, if you don't mind sharing at that time?
Yeah, I'm a real estate guy. I like a developer, contractor, mortgage, licensed broker. At that moment, I was building properties in California to resell. And I was working on a deal, and it was just, you know, it was just a moment in my life where I was like, I can't even have a vacation.
Right. Right.
What kind of a business is this? You know, like, and what I found now after helping 6,000 different businesses is that's a normal experience, you know? Sure. And so we rapidly built MyOutDesk. I discovered the power of this virtual assistant thing. Mm-hmm. And basically, if you think about it like this, a can of soda in the US costs $2 if you go buy it at a restaurant, right? That same can of soda is 25 to 50 cents in the Philippines, which is where we operate. So, you know, everything's a quarter of the cost. So why wouldn't you hire a smart, educated, you know, really wants it kind of person to help you build your business for a quarter of the cost? And that's exactly what we did.
And I love that because I think when I got my first bill, or when I was with MyOutDesk, with full disclosure, I was with you guys before. I think it was like 18,000 PHP or something like that, which ended
Yeah.
up coming to like $500 a month, and they did like so much for me. So what you guys have is fantastic. So, um, what do you think entrepreneurs' biggest blind spots are?
Well, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, the biggest blind spots we have is if you're really passionate about growing a business, if you're really passionate about like helping clients, there's some steps that you have to do that really matter. Number one is have a good vision for your life, like who I want to be. In that moment in the bar, I knew I didn't want to be this, right?
Right.
So I had a pain situation, and then I created a vision for my future. I was like, I want to be able to take a vacation. I want to be not the only one able and capable of doing this. So number one, really get clear about your vision, have passion around it, and do it. Number two is realize that time is our most valuable asset. So time is your most valuable asset. I can't tell you how many people, entrepreneurs who are worth millions of dollars, hundreds of millions, they all say the same thing. I didn't understand the value of my time early enough. And so I did a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. And so in our world, if it's a $15 an hour task, and you're a leader, a CEO, a C-suite person, entrepreneur, guess what? You're worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars an hour. Stop doing those $15 an hour tasks.
Absolutely.
That's probably number two.
Awesome. And so what did your wife and family think about the choice of really kind of going all in on MyOutDesk while you were flipping, or, rehabbing, flipping, whatever you were doing on the real estate side of things? What'd your family think about really going in all in and MyOD?
So it's so interesting. I remember I've got two cool moments. I'm at a family dinner, and my father-in-law is there, my whole family's there, and I think it's Easter. And I get a cell phone call, and I say, "Excuse me, guys," and I take the call. I come back, and my father-in-law is like, "Geez, Daniel, what are you doing? Why are you?" And I was like, I looked at him and just straight face said, "Look, if I don't answer my phone, somebody else will." And that was my mindset back then, right? That was my mindset. And I remember my wife coming home one day, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, we got so much money in our bank account." I'm like, "I know, right? I'm awesome." And she's like, "Yeah, you're awesome." And then the next day she comes home and she's panicked, and she's like, "Where'd all that money go?" And so
I love it.
Yeah, well, these ebbs and flows of cash flow, you sell something and you get something, and then you reinvest it back in your business. So yeah, my family thinks I'm crazy, and I love it. And I love serving other people who are crazy. I mean, when entrepreneurs come and say, "I have an idea, I have a barrier, I have a need," that's when like our entire business is focused around removing obstacles for entrepreneurs and finding opportunity for them to get some of their time back.
Wow. So forgive me, I'm writing that down. So removing obstacles and getting that time back. Okay. Awesome. So what keeps you up at night then, now that you've really built this into a platform that's successful, and like what right now keeps Daniel up at night?
It's interesting. I sleep really good. Okay. So not a lot. Yeah, not a lot. But I mean, if the question is what concerns me, we're in a process of scaling. There's multiple, and I wrote a book, and I'm going to give it away to your audience, but there are these three different kind of levels, right? I do it, we do it, they do it. We crossed the they do it several years ago, and there's these barriers in growing and scaling a business. I'm all focused on how do you grow and scale, and what does that look like, and how can you win as an entrepreneur, right? And so, when the first race is to get to $1 million. The next race is to get to $10 million. Once you get to $10 million, you can afford higher level leadership. You can afford better tech stacks. You can afford better, lead generation platforms. So there's some opportunities once you pass that $1 million and $10 million. Well, the next barrier is 50 million. Sure. Once you get to 50 million, oh my goodness, now you have the whole world. So we're in that path of scaling to 50 million right now. And so what keeps me up is, how do I serve our clients at a higher level? How do I make more impact in their lives? How do we give back? How do we make our company the gold standard in the industry?
Gotcha. What are you doing to make that happen?
I love it. One of the things that we're really, really focused on right now is how we serve our customers and what their experience is after and before the placement. So, for instance, I talked about, when entrepreneurs come to us, we help them remove obstacles and really figure out how to buy back their time. We have a consultation that our customers come to, and if you bring a couple of things, it really is impactful. So if you bring who's on your team today, what are your systems, what's your tech stack in your business, and where you want to go, we will actually build a custom plan to figure out, hey, who do you need to hire and what do you need to do to actually double and grow your business. And that service is something that's ancillary to staffing, because what we do is we help people get leverage in their world. But what it does is it sets you on a path to really growing and scaling. And that's what the book is dedicated to. That's what the company is dedicated to. It's all focused around helping our customers grow.
So you're talking about scaling. The prices within MyOutDesk work with the scaling of your business. Is there different tiers of price ranges and whatnot that people can look into when they do this consultation with you?
Yeah, it's interesting because you'd mentioned you'd been a client, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, and we had a part-time option and a full-time option back then. Lots have changed within the business. What we found was our part-time customers, they paid less and they were less satisfied, and they stuck around for a shorter time frame compared to our full-time customers. And so we actually changed our model 4 years ago to only offer full-time employees, full-time virtual professionals is what we call them, in really 4 areas. So if you think about it, it's admin. At that time, I don't want to do my paperwork. That kind of sums up admin, right? Then you have sales, so somebody to prospect and kind of call people for you. And then we have marketing. So we have marketing coordinators to help you kind of design or get your message out. And then we have customer service folks, answering the phones and making inroads. Those are the 4 services. And we are a full-time staffing company now, serving, insurance, tech, craziness with this whole COVID thing.
Sure.
We've been serving some
just killing it.
Well, biotech companies who are doing testing right now for COVID. Yeah. They're some of our largest, clients right now because there's so much volume going on. But yeah, we're highly focused right now on making sure the client is winning with us and crafting plans to help them get to their dreams.
I've always wanted to ask you this, Daniel. How do you get around the vet the people out for the language barrier? Because for me, I was actually born in the Philippines. I'm half Filipino, believe it or not. I'm a giant Filipino. I was born in 1972 in the Philippines, right during the Vietnam War. Got adopted into an American family. But the last thing I want to do is when I'm talking to somebody is not being able to have that communication. What do you guys do to vet that language barrier, brother?
Yeah, it's a great question. Every year we have over 20,000 applicants that apply to a job for MyOutDesk in the Philippines. It's kind of nuts, actually, how many people apply. But we go through a process, man, and I keep hammering this process. Process is the thing that grows and scales a business. And when people are like, well, it's not working, I'm like, well, what's your process, right? And so our process to get really good talent, there's 180 steps. I mean, it's nuts.
Really?
They have to, it's crazy. People in the Philippines are like, I don't want to do all that. I'm like, I know, I don't either, but that's what we have to do. But to answer your original question, we do 2 face-to-face interviews.
Got it.
So, we, like you and I are right now on Zoom, we conduct hundreds of those interviews every single day. And we just simply don't hire people that don't have great communication.
Love that. I always wanted to ask you that, man, for the years. Yeah. The person that I had was awesome. I was wondering about other people, so you saw Back to the Future, right? We've all saw it from our generation. So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Daniel. What kind of knowledge nuggets, that's what we call him here at Time to Shine today, and what kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on Daniel to maybe help him level up, last through, shorten his learning curve?
Yeah, man. I wish I would have hired earlier. I know that sounds weird coming from a staffing guy. I thought I would build talent rather than buy talent. And at 22, I thought, okay, I'll just train him to do it like I'd want to. And I just work through a process with them, and, I'll hold their hand. And I tried to take people who weren't fit for the job with the right experience, and I tried to make them into something that they weren't. And I probably spent the first 10 years as an entrepreneur in my 20s pounding my head against the wall saying, why can't they get it, when it was me that was the problem. So number one, I would have hired earlier. I would have spent more money on the right person. There's this revenue roller coaster in business when you're growing to that first plateau, which is $1 million. Getting to that $1 million, there are some systematic things that have to happen. You have to focus on sales. You have to focus on customer service. And really, it's about documenting your systems and process. Mm-hmm. And as an entrepreneur, you can't be the only one doing that and driving revenue. So I always kind of tried to band-aid it and like hire somebody who was the cheapest and, not pay for the system that would have helped do it. So going back, man, hire great people. And everybody says they hire great people, but really great people who have experience, pay more than you thought it was going to cost. And get the talent that you need to get to that $1 million. Here's the funny thing, and you'll like this. Every CEO that I've ever talked to, when you ask what's their number one problem, they say getting talent.
Wow. Really?
Number two, retaining talent. They're not talking about getting more deals or they're finding more revenue or expansion or building a plant. Their concern is building the team. Think of as entrepreneur or CEO or C-suite or leader or whatever you are. Your job is the coach, and it's to get the team that's going to take you to the Super Bowl, not the team that can play the game.
Love it. And you know what I love about MyOutDesk is that me being in my position is that, I could, I'm afraid sometimes to hire that talent because I'm afraid I'm going to be competing with my talent. Without MyOutDesk, you're never really going to compete. And
that's right.
To piggyback that, is there strict non-disclosure? So if they work for me as a real estate agent and another real estate agent, they don't share my secrets or my systems with that other agent?
Yeah. And we have, so the way our business is set up is we're a Delaware LLC here in the US, and in the Philippines, we're incorporated, and our people all have non-disclosures, non-competes, all that good stuff, as well as our clients here in the US. Okay. Nobody wants to lose their most valuable process and system to the competitor, right? But to your earlier point, which is great, you hire a virtual assistant, they're never going to compete directly with you in that market.
Right.
Exactly. Ever.
Right.
So it's kind of a cool, it's kind of a cool benefit. Yeah.
So how do you want your dash remembered, Daniel? That little line between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life and death date. How do you want Daniel's dash remembered?
Well, something that we've done recently, and I say recently in like the last 5 years, right? The longer your company exists, the more recent and past is weird. We've always given back to our community, in California, Sacramento, as well as in the Philippines. And so, about 5 years ago, we started giving back in a real way. We've since created a charity where our customers and our virtual professionals are making impact. So that for me is easy. I'm in service of our clients. I'm in service of our virtual professionals. And through our charity, I help enable our clients and our virtual professionals to make impact in the world. And that is how I'll be remembered.
I love that. So what is Daniel's definition of a life well lived?
I'm not a balance guy. I do things crazy. Like I'm a wrestling coach. I play soccer. I've got 2 little girls and a 3rd girl on the way. I'm surrounded by girls, by the way, at my home. I think that's probably in the plan, right? But yeah, I don't do anything. We've got more than 2 months of vacation this year. I have really big goals in terms of making passive income, making investments where those investments pay us back. We have huge growth goals for the company, as well as so I'm a big, go all in, play fun, do the things that matter. And, maybe even going back to my earlier self, another nugget that I would have told myself, because I feel like there's another one in here, is focus. As an early entrepreneur, I had like a lot of fires and a lot of irons everywhere. And now we're very clear, like my one baby is MyOutDesk. My one thing is loving on our people, our clients. And then, I have my life where my one thing is loving on my family.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because you prove it every day with what you're doing to level up your company. So, and as we wind things down here just a little bit, Daniel, I got a leveling up lightning round. There's 5 or 6 questions,
Cool.
zero explanations. All right, my producer will ding you. I'm just kidding, but no, just zero explanations. First thing that stop comes to your head, and trust me, you can answer them all very quickly. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's level up. What is the best leveling up advice Daniel's ever received?
Do something in the morning to be active first thing.
Get moving, baby. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I meditate and read and journal every single morning.
Love it. Love it. I'm a wrestler too. And like meditating was the hardest thing for me. I know I just broke my own rule, but it was the hardest thing for me to get done. Other than your own website, myoutdesk.com, and of course, timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug, what other website do you like to go to level up?
A lot of Wall Street Journal. I do a
Okay.
lot of reading in the Wall Street Journal.
Very cool.
Yep.
Okay. And so if I'm in my doldrums, just not feeling it, you're like, Fergie, read this book. What's that book, man?
I don't know.
You don't have to have
Yeah,
one.
I don't.
What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
I don't do it, man.
No,
I'm in my
cool.
40s.
That's cool. That's cool. It's
I'm
more
failing your last 2 questions.
No, you're not failing. You're being real. You're a busy man. Okay. What's your favorite charity and or organization like to give your time and or money to? I know you can't answer this, but what is that organization?
Yeah, it's we call it the mod movement, man. And every year, I've set a goal this year. To contribute over $300,000. I'm calling on my customers, my virtual professionals, to help me make that $300,000 really impactful. We did an orphanage a couple of years ago, old folks home. We sponsored entrepreneur kids to a camp in Texas.
Wow.
Low income. We're going to do some food bank stuff this year because there's a lot of stuff going on with COVID. And so, making
Love
impact.
The last question, you can elaborate on it just a little bit on this one, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
That's interesting. Well, my dad would say the 70s. I would say the 80s.
I'm an 80s. How old are you? You're in your 40s?
I'm 40, yeah.
Okay.
43, yeah.
43, I'm 48. So we're kind of in that genre, that 80s big hair, don't care. You had rap that started then. You had the British invasion. You had, Duran Duran, all of it. So that's fantastic. So how can we find you, brother?
Yeah, best place to go is just go to myoutdesk.com. For your audience, I did want to give away the book. It's called Scaling Your Business.
Okay.
You can actually get a copy by texting 31996. That's the phone number to text. And then the letters MOD. So MyOutDesk MOD. If you text 31996, you'll get a copy of the book. It's a Kindle PDF. If you go to the website, you can actually listen to an audiobook of the book, which is really cool. And if you're thinking about hiring virtual assistants in the future, I mean, it's the Bible for that.
Love it. I love it. I cannot wait to read it myself. So leave us with one last knowledge nugget, Daniel, you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on, brother.
Yeah, sure. We talked a little bit about it. I, we, they, right? Mm-hmm. In the I world, you're learning your business. You're trying to figure out how to make impact and sell and serve your customers. In the we, you're squarely going after systems and process, right? And then in the they, you're now focused on people and legacy. So I, we, they, this is the path to getting to $1 million business where you're netting $1 million in your pocket. And it's not hard. It's actually formulaic. Like, I know that sounds crazy.
I
know if you're listening right now, it's formulaic. And if you wanted to have a consult, jump on our website. We'd walk you through, what you might be missing. We've been blessed to serve, $1 billion companies all the way to a brand new startup who just decided to open last week.
Love it. And squad, you've just basically got a free masterclass from somebody that I immensely respect, a man with no balance. And what I say about no balance is zero. He's more of a harmonic guy. And what I mean by that is, like, if you have a jazz band, man, you have the guitar, the horns, the drums, and if one of them is out of tune, you're out of harmony. So what MyOutDesk can do is put that back into harmony so you can play that beautiful music. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you have to have that vision and time is your most valuable asset. You know, focus around getting in the obstacles and getting that time back. And he brought up the I, we, they. The I is where you're learning it. The we is where the systems and process, and three is your people and legacy. That's the they. You know, he wants to improve how people serve and the experiences that they have. You know, they have admin, they're all full-time. They have admin, sales, marketing, and customer service. They have the whole gamut, and they're very affordable. Trust me. And he would have told him younger self to focus on what his passion is and put his time there, and also hire earlier, invest in the right person, the systems, and the talent. You know, he gives back to his community. He's always leveling up his service to the clients. And then, you know, if you want that free Kindle book, text 31996 to MOD and put MOD in there, but text it to 31996 and put MOD. And I'll put that right in the show notes. Man, Daniel, I am so blessed, so stoked. Thank you so much for coming on, man. You level up your health, you level up your wealth. Not only that, you're leveling up everybody else's as well. So I appreciate the time that you carved out. I'm blessed. And thank you so much, brother. You earned your varsity letter today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Scott.
You bet. Thanks, Daniel.